Amarjot and Chamkila's son, Jaiman, was there, then Chamkila's other daughter, and the whole family was there. And while I was watching the film, again sitting in the aisle and watching the film, the family was, like the wife was next to me. And I was even thinking that, there are some sensitive scenes. Should I just pull back and go back before she attacks me or something like that? More than that also, I think I got to meet a very different artist. A person, a very true artist, and very refreshing actually to work with him, because he's very clean as an artist and a very different quantity from anybody you would meet. The fact that he was a certain caste was an obvious reality to Chamkila. And Chamkila in his life would make fun of his own caste to himself. And he would always use that word, which is used in the film. I feel that Chamkila was the love story of a man and his music, his art. And it's like, really, if you consider them to be lovers, Chamkila could never be away from music, and that is why he lost his life.
Hello everybody, I'm Rudrani and welcome to Zoom Speak Easy. My guest today is one of the greatest storytellers of the country. He has told us stories that we love, that has put us in pain, but stories that are always part of our memories. He has the envious body of work. Of course, I'm talking about the absolutely talented Imtiaz Ali. Thank you for joining in, Imtiaz.
Thank you so much.
But of course, we all know that this is an absolutely fantastic Chamkila time. और क्या चमका है Chamkila. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's been quite the film of discussion. What a fantastic film, Imtiaz. Today is going to be a lot of fun because if you've seen the film, we're going to talk about a lot of things here, and Imtiaz can obviously tell us how he made those things possible. Let's start from the time when the screening happened, right? I don't remember seeing such a packed screening in a while, and there were people literally scrabbling for seats because I was there in that screening. And you got the most, besides the standing ovation, it almost felt like a rock star-like feeling because you walked out of the place that you were sitting and everybody was following you, looking at you and saying that, what have you made? Tell me how you felt at that moment, because that was the time also the film was being projected in the big screen.
Yeah, I loved that screening. That was the first screening of the film, so it's the first time that outsiders, like people that were not involved with the film, were getting to see it. It was very charming, and it was all that because of the audience that was present in that theatre. It was full, it was overfull, it was more than overfull. There were people standing outside, I didn't even know. And this was the first screening 3 days before the release, 4 days before the release even. And very charming. And people, they were all cinema lovers, and they were all with the film. And I remember that all of us were huddled on the floor because there were no seats, and we had all, like, everybody had seats. And but it gave you the feeling of what cinema should be, that connection from one to the other person. So it was very, very nice. And then I had a feeling that people are with the film right through, every nuance, everything. And it was very gratifying for me at the unit. All of us were sitting on the floor actually. There was the cinematographer and my assistants and everybody. And we were just, Sajid was there, we were just watching. And we were getting, like, every nuance was being got. Everything was being followed. All those things that we thought were risky, like the multiple screens, the supers on screen, animation which follows live action, so many things which could have been disconcerting, people might have not liked so much. People were loving all of those things. The real footage of Chamkila and Amarjot playing, pictures coming in between of the real Chamkila and Amarjot. Everything was being lapped up. It was really one of the best screenings of anything that I've seen, honestly. And so, yeah, that moment was like a trance when I actually walked down and went for the Q&A that followed over there. It was really like love for cinema.
I think post that was the premiere night, and all of y'all were there, Diljit, I remember, we saw Chamkila's side family as well.
Yes.
Out there who had come in. I think it was a very interesting visual for me to see the way people were reaching out. They were actually calling him Chamkila, and then the family was there. Tell me how that premiere night was for all of you all from your side, because you could see the other side.
We were, see, it actually began because we went to shoot in Liberty Theatre for this film. And then when we were shooting over there, Diljit and I had this plan that we should have a premiere like old times, and we should do it in a cinema theatre like Liberty Cinema, because we had seen pictures of old premieres on the walls of Liberty. Yeah. And we were thinking that why can't we have something like this? We will also wear old-fashioned clothes, and we will have everybody wear a dress code which is going to be of the 80s red carpet, etc. So we did all of that for our own sake. The theatre that we did this show in is not the best theatre for audio. It's not the best theatre for visual, but it's the greatest theatre for nostalgia. And so we collected there, and we were like, oh, maybe the film will not look its best over here, but it's like only us that are going to watch it. And really it was an extension of friends and family, and we didn't really want to make it like a media event. It was an event for ourselves, the people that have made the film and their friends and families. So there was a bonhomie, there was a warmth that we felt, because that's the warmth. Once you make a film, it gets over, you hardly ever meet again. And this was an occasion for all of us to meet. So we were very excited about that. The other thing was that Chamkila's family was there. Chamkila's first wife, Gurmail, then Amarjot and Chamkila's son, Jaiman, was there, then Chamkila's other daughter, and the whole family was there. And while I was watching the film, again sitting in the aisle and watching the film, the family was, like, the wife was next to me. And I was even thinking that, there are some sensitive scenes. Should I just pull back and go back before she attacks me or something like that? But when the screening got over, she hugged me. Everybody was so happy with the way that Chamkila was portrayed, because we were thinking, we hope that they like it, because this is not like, in the portrayal of Chamkila, I've not been very, like, he's a grey character. There are lots of things.
You've not whitewashed it.
I've not whitewashed Chamkila, because that was the point of making the film, that he had done a lot of things which can be judged. And but I let it be like that in the film. And it's actually to the credit to the family that they understood it. They knew that it's factual, and they did not stop my way.
You clearly came out happy and thriving, so nobody has attacked you at all. So, but I'm sure their feedback must have meant a lot also, because you are really connected to the story.
Yes, yeah. And I had met all of them. I had spoken to the wife and got a lot of detail from her about Chamkila. There was not much, she didn't feature much in the story, because the focus of the story was something else, those other events in his life. But yes, their feedback means a lot. The feedback of people from Punjab means a lot. People who have been through the 80s in Punjab. There were some people in the theatre that have seen shows of Chamkila, live shows, akhadas of Chamkila in Punjab. There was Mr. Dalbir Singh Bains, who was my super senior from Delhi University, from Hindu College, who was the DC of Ropar and Sangrur during the times of the 80s. And he was there in the theatre, and he says, I can't believe that the representation is actually quite true to how it was. And that was such a huge compliment to me. So I particularly relish compliments that come from those people that have seen those times, because for us to represent those times was very important.
And authenticity, of course, every way.
Yes, because this was a very earthy film. This was, I tried to keep it earthy, and I tried to show the world as I conceive it was during that time. So authenticity was important.
Watching the Thet Punjabi dialect coming out, because of course, it's you understand it, it's very near to it, but उसमें कोई मिसमैच नहीं लगा. पर बहुत सारे डिस्कशंस होते हैं बहुत सारी फिल्मों में कि मासी बनाते हैं तो हिंदी रखते हैं कि नहीं.
Yeah, we've had these conversations while we were going to make it, and we didn't want to be wrong for Punjab while being right for Hindi.
Correct.
Most of what you hear in the film is spoken in Hindi. However, it must have in reality been spoken in Punjabi.
Yeah.
Right, but then I wanted to take this story beyond the confines of Punjab and tell to the whole nation and internationally, because now we are also, it's possible for us to watch films with subtitles of a language we don't understand. You know, we watch Narcos and we watch everything. You know, we understand, enjoy other language content. So I thought, why not this film? So this is a story that we can proudly present everywhere. But I could make it in Hindi. You know, so to take it out, I have obviously changed the language to Hindi, but I did not want to do the same with Chamkila's songs, which are as real and as is. You know, we've not changed any nukta, matra, no word, nothing. And of course, more than even me, Diljit was particular that he was definitely going to even intonate in the way Chamkila did. You know, because he himself is such a big Chamkila fan. And so we've had so many conversations about how I really admire Chamkila's composition skills, for instance, and so does he. So we've also spent time just enjoying the nuances of his music. So anyway, so we've kept that authenticity of music, but it was difficult because there was no precedent, you see. There was no, I had not seen a Hindi film in which there were supers on screen running while the song is running. But the songs had to be in Punjabi, and this Punjabi is not the kind of Punjabi that even Punjabis would understand. It's very, you know, it's old-fashioned.
Very thick.
And it is, it's very village, and also it's of an olden era. So, supers on screen, you know, and then we wanted to make these supers not very distracting but cool and somehow helping you and linking you to the story rather than taking you away from it. So there were many challenges that were thrown because of this, and I feel therefore very happy when you say that these supers is something that you liked, you know, because then that's really nice for us.
Yeah, I think there was no disconnect at any point at all.
That was wonderful.
There is a way that a lot of your films start. That's very important. Ki shuruaat kahan se hai. Also, you like having like this narrator kind of thing. Almost feels like a fable is being told. जो आपने यहाँ पे use किया है. Also, I think मुझे जो समझ में आया ये भी है कि ये जो ये जो इंसान है, ये जो actually rock star है वहाँ का, उसकी लाइफ में इतनी बातें होती थी about the kind of person he is, the lyrics that he's singing. It was all so much in gossip, so much spoken about because no one's met him. They're all and making so much assumptions about him. It was so interesting that you chose to do that कि उसकी कहानी हम वहाँ से शुरू करते हैं कि अभी भी लोग बातें कर रहे हैं और वैसे हम कहानी बताएंगे. Tell me, I don't know if my analysis was right, but I want to know yours.
No, completely right. In this film, I thought there are two stories. One is the story of the human Chamkila was, and his compulsions and his love for music, so on and so forth. That's a simple, straightforward story, and I wanted to keep that intimate. But there's also the larger myth of Chamkila, because he was also a star, and he was a rural star, and people had various notions about him. You know how it is possible for the audience to both make you appear as a supernatural being and also demonize you, you know, and that's what he suffered, and that was such an important part of his life that the myth of Chamkila was also important, which is why we use the technique of this musical theatre 2 times in the film, where people are talking about their opinion of Chamkila. And various people are giving different opinions. Some people are liking, some people are debasing him, ridiculing him. Some people are enjoying secretly his lyrics. So the whole gamut of reaction of Chamkila is presented to an audience which I assumed would know nothing about Chamkila when they come in to watch the film.
Absolutely.
So that we do in this Baja song. So it kind of breaks the fourth wall. You are talking to the camera directly. So and that also, and many of those things that they are saying are not even true. But that's how a myth is, that it's larger than life. And so you create this larger than life impression about this guy, which, in order to give it a fable feel, a mythical feel, we went back to animation later on, to various cuttings and sketches and story for like comic book formats and things like that.
You always try to bring out the artist conflict of कि हम pure artist कैसे रहे और ये जो बना देती है जो दुनिया की आप इतने बड़े स्टार हो obviously we've seen that in Rockstar as well, where he also, there are times we see that हम देखते हैं किस तरह से चमकीला goes and says कि पर मुझे सिर्फ गाना है, ये सब like देख लो ना. Like, I want to sing. Can I just? Why is it a problem? Why do they hate me so much? I'm only entertaining them. There's very innocence with which he says it, saying that how is it so difficult? Like, I'm just doing this for them and for me. Tell me why that is important for you.
So I feel that Chamkila was the love story of a man and his music, his art. And it's like, really, if you consider them to be lovers, Chamkila could never be away from music, and that is why he lost his life. There came a time in his life where he felt that if I stop playing music for some time, I will survive. My life will not go. But he could not stop it. And that's what I've understood about this person, that he was not attracted to money. He was desperate for money because he came from a certain class and he thought it's going to all run away from him. So let me just do as many shows. But he was so addicted to playing music for an audience on stage. Uska nasha itna tha, he could never stay away from it. He could never take a decision that I'll leave even one akhada. He never left. And he says, boss, ab jo hoga, wo mere haath mein nahi hai, but this is something that I have to do. It's also a very young man, you see. 27 is when he died. And before that, he'd already achieved a stardom which no one in Punjab had. And so it was a rush. His life was not static. It was in a rush. So everything that has happened in a rush. So, yes, it was his love for music, which he never wanted to give up. And that's why his life also went. Although this was not a decision of bravery. It was a decision just surrender to love. That I don't want to not sing.
Yeah. Which is what Diljit often says also. Like about music, saying that I don't know what to do if music is taken away from me.
Yeah. And he said the greatest thrill about working in this film was that this was a film about music. So it was not as though he was taken away from music.
From the best thing that he likes to do.
Yeah. So every day he was singing. Every day he was practicing with the best musicians. And the other thing that is important, and that it's a test that we passed, is live song recording.
Oh, that was fantastic.
They are singing on the fly, they are singing and we are recording it, and what you hear in the film is nothing but that. It was all recorded on location.
Auto-tune ke zamane mein hai. This is something that I think people have really loved.
And you know, it is still possible to auto-tune it.
Yeah.
But we have not we've not put the music, and also because when you're singing live, there's a certain like a vibe to it, no? Because there is the live audience, they are also creating, there is some live sound going on. When you're singing, you're reacting to that pitch wise, etc. So it was all, so he was kept in music. That was the most enjoyable part of the film actually. That these guys, the musicians left alone, were doing some rag, some kuch gana wana gaate rehte the. So by default, Diljit and Parineeti would also go and sit with the musicians. They would also be singing all the time. For us, it was a party here. And when we are shooting, we are actually seeing Diljit Dosanjh perform live for us free.
Free, every single day.
So almost. That it was a thrill.
Because I could see that you actually went to both the concerts where Diljit was there, because I was there in both the concerts.
Okay.
And he was, giving a shout out to you also about it. And
well, he didn't know that I'm in the concert.
Yeah, I mean, he gave a shout out to Chamkila. I think it was wonderful.
To me, yeah.
And to you.
But he didn't know I was there.
Which I think must have been fantastic. I feel like now you're a bona fide Diljit Dosanjh fan from inside, isn't it? After.
No, I more than that also, I think I got to meet a very different artist. A person, a very true artist, and very refreshing actually to work with him, because he's very clean as an artist and a very different quantity from anybody you would meet. So it was very charming, very thrilling, very refreshing to actually just be with him. And the best thing about him is that there is no bullshit. There is no like pandering or lying or nothing. It's so clean, and he stayed in a kothi while during shoot. He lived there. He didn't need anything. He would sit on the ground. He would eat. He's completely, and he's not doing it because of any notion, but because he feels that this is who I am. I'm a guy from Punjab, and he's a son of the soil, so to speak.
Very, very, very few actors will do this.
While he's also everywhere else in the world. You know, while he's the only guy that goes and performs in Coachella, and when he performed in Coachella, let me tell you, my daughter was there. There is no other performance in Coachella, which is supposed to be one of the biggest music festivals of the world. No one got as much accolade as him. No one. He was the star, the #1 performer, and the most talked about performer in Coachella. It's like, we don't even know what he's done over there. He's that huge. But he's also this. And it's fine, he can be.
I mean, you were telling me about people really submitting to characters. We know very few actors actually are okay with that today, right?
And he was right from the word go. He just said, when I spoke to him, it was on a video call actually. I thought I'll just talk to him for 2 minutes. I ended up talking to him for 1 hour, 2 hours maybe. And he was like, मैं खड़ा रहूँगा sir, आप जहाँ बोलोगे मैं खड़ा रहूँगा sir, I'm with you. And that's exactly what it was through.
You know, he was saying that I thought I was a Chamkila fan, but then I met Imtiaz sir and I realized that I am nothing. I'm not surprised because you research वैसा ही करते हो.
If I'm making a film, I better know about Chamkila.
Yeah, no, but I think also you do extensive research, which is why the film reflects it. माहौल बनाना. This is literally, I think, the first time that you actually attempted to make like a biopic, right?
Real life story, correct.
How did you put that layout for yourself? Ki this is how I want it to look.
When I got to know a little bit about Chamkila, I kind of made a format in my mind that the film should begin with him where it does. I don't want to reveal too much because there might be an audience that has not seen the film. How it will begin, how it will carry on, how the narration of the stories will happen, that various people will come and they will say what they knew about Chamkila, etc. So that it's mythical, and then when we cut to flashback, we will see the personal. So that, as I said, mythical and personal have to go on together in this movie. So I had decided that. But after that, when I went to Punjab and progressively met more and more people that were involved in Chamkila's life, I got to know more and more. And it was my inquisitiveness about his life, things that I was interested in, I discovered or investigated more. That is how the research was. I met this one gentleman, Tiki, who was the dholak player.
Correct.
I met him, he said something, then I decided to meet someone else to authenticate that or to get the other side of that story. So I met that. So I was actually following this research through my inquisitiveness, things that were interesting to me. So that's how then layer after layer more things got added to the screenplay. So I've worked on the screenplay. Every time I came back from Punjab with new information, or while I was there even, I was like writing those things in. So it kind of kept changing form right through.
One of my favorite scene is the part, a very important scene as well, because that has been a part of his life, the way he has been treated, is the scene where he finally walks out and he becomes his own person, right? वो उस दफ्तर में जाते हैं, उनको बहुत बेइज्जती करते हैं, उनको उनकी औकात, कास्ट की याद दिलाया जाता है उनको, and then he walks out saying that मैं कर लूँगा कुछ,
भूखा तो नहीं मरूँगा,
भूखा नहीं मरूँगा. It's a very interesting scene. Could you tell me how you formulated that scene? How did you look at it when you were thinking? Because it is true that Chamkila ke life में, you know, his caste had been in discussion. People at that time, he was discriminated against. उनको नीचा दिखाया जाता था.
So it's again coming from the fact that people that were involved with him at that point of time, Tiki who was there, and other people, I'd heard them narrate what happened that day. You know, what the fight was about and how it happened, etc. And what was told to him. The fact that he was a certain caste was an obvious reality to Chamkila. And Chamkila in his life would make fun of his own caste to himself. And he would always use that word, which is used in the film, which is you might beep it, but that's the word. And he used to use it upon himself, to make fun of it himself, you know. And so I knew that he was kind of casual about it, and it is not as though if somebody said that to him, it would be the first time that he's hearing it. He's all his life he's heard it. He's the son of a laborer. You know, he's from the most disadvantaged, underprivileged background possible in Punjab. So coming from there, he's heard it so many times. But here he was told it in a certain way that hurt him, you know. And if you see any of his videos on YouTube, and there are many of them, he's always like a servant. He's never like a star. That is a very attractive thing about him. So, you know, things that I did not know, I thought of how this man, who I'm seeing perform on screen, how would he have reacted to a situation like this? And therefore, I came up to this whole thing of, he had his strength. He was very sure that he's going to succeed, for instance. You know, he says, "Haan, kal tumhe bada banne wala." So and then, but he was also very insecure, because he was coming from a place where he thought that anything good that he gets will be snatched away from him. So, but basically what I have done in this film is that I have tried to only rely on material that I am getting rather than imagining.
Which is why it is as it is. I spoke of one of my favorite scenes. I think before I go further, I must ask, what has been one of your, I'm not saying favorite, that'll be unfair for any director to put him in that position, but what have been one of the most interesting scenes for you? And if you could break it down for us.
Well, I like for instance, I could just think of this scene before the song Naram Kaalja begins, where these old women start talking. And there is a reference of Chamkila's songs, and how this old woman says that, oh, but we've all been singing vulgar songs. And then they refer to many vulgar songs. When those supers come on screen, you realize that, oh, these are much more vulgar than even Chamkila songs, etc. And then how that manifests to the song, how that changes to the song. So that's interesting. And what I'd like to say over here is that we had these old women that are actual ladies of Punjab, and they were the ones suggesting that, you know, this song and that song. They were coming up with ideas of which songs are vulgar and which songs they knew, etc. And the shot really was that Diljit and Parineeti, that is Chamkila and Amarjot, they walk out with the child and they go out, and then there was this little barn space. They would stand there while we would continue to roll and have the conversation of the women.
Correct.
So, as they walked out, I was supposed to cut very soon. But I did not cut because the women started talking to each other. And then instead of cutting, I also prodded them that aap boliye na, because I knew there'd be another cut, so I'd be able to manipulate it. So, aap koi gana ga do, kaun sa gana yaad aa raha hai? To usne ga diya ki rati ki guzri 10 patlo de yaara, and she's saying tabja kand kudi ela ki jor patanda sara. And so they started talking, and it started to develop. And it became something, and I thought while shooting that, I don't know whether we'll have this in the film, because there was no intention of this scene being like that, or the song that has followed to be like that. All of these things are improvised during shoot. However, it kept going on and on and on and on. And then finally when we cut, all the Punjabis were red-faced. In the unit, you know.
Because they understood the meaning.
They understood what they... And then when I came, Diljit was standing over there on the side, because he had to just be there, and he was like, "Ore baap re baap, ye to kya aurtein ye to kya ho raha tha, kya bol rahi thi ye."
Because you mentioned this, I just want to say that I know one shot, because I told you I was doing a little research, and I saw that there's a shot where they are a little like holding back, and you say, "Aap ekdam, you say like that to them." And then they look at you for approval, they say, okay, while they're dancing as well.
We had a lot of fun shooting this song. This was the, I think, highlight for the unit. We really enjoyed this part, this Naram Kaalja shooting. Because these were women, of real women of Punjab. Only some of them had ever seen a camera or knew what acting was or wanted to do that. Some of them, most of them had not ever, like they had all danced at home, but none of them had actually ever been to a shoot before, or they were all untrained basically. They were farmland girls, they were college girls, they were girls from hockey teams and stuff like that, you know. And there were these old women. A film should be made on how this song was built, because there was a lot of like semi-revolutions. People had like girls had actually fought against their fathers and come with their brothers to, you know, spend these 2 nights and shoot for these 2 days away from home. So a lot of things happened over there, and you know, it shows in the fervor of these women. They really enjoyed the shoot. So yeah, we were, I think, and when we went there, we didn't have a plan of shooting this song. I thought there'd be a small portion we shot that we are going to shoot, and then because ultimately the bhand hai na, hum logon ko bhi maza aata hai naach gaane mein, so we just made it more and more. And then Rahman sir, sitting over here in this very studio, is calling me and saying that I also have another antara. So I said, sir, I don't have that much duration, I feel, to shoot an antara. And he said, no, shoot it, no. And I'm so glad that he said, because once he said it, I was like, अरे यार अभी कैसे shoot करेंगे, कब करेंगे, time भी नहीं है, time is money on a shoot and all of that. But it was so magical, and it was just the best experience.
I think what the song also represents is freedom for the women there, right? They're in the houses, they're cooking, they're cleaning, they're supposed to be quiet. And I think through his songs, they found a way to live, to express themselves. I think you represent that very well in that song.
I was trying to wonder, I was trying to find out why women listen to Chamkila so much. I was told that women were very big fans of Chamkila. Then I realized that all over the world, it's actually women that sing more vulgar songs than men. Especially old women, especially in all Indian weddings, in almost every culture of the country. I'm aware that, you know, women sing very vulgar songs. So they have a certain sense of liberation, perhaps, a certain, like, throwing off the repression that they have to otherwise live in this unequal society. So and actually when these girls and women, they started to sing and dance, they really, it was that for them. You know, it was real, and the fervor really shows. So, yeah, it was very enjoyable, and I think it was also reality. Something real was being put out.
Coming to, of course, Parineeti's casting, I want to, did you have a lot of trouble with really actors trying to, like, not wanting to lose that, gain that weight for the character, and finding the match with Amarjot? Because casting here is very important, and you got it pretty accurate.
I couldn't have had a better cast. Anybody who's watched the film has not suggested that there could be anyone playing Chamkila other than Diljit, and anyone playing Amarjot other than Parineeti. And I was lucky with Parineeti. She came in, she even looked a lot like Amarjot in certain ways, not really. And she was willing to gain weight. That is a nightmare, you know, for a girl to gain weight, and for a guy to gain weight, for anyone. But she did, and that is really showing her dedication for the film. And she's a very good singer. Of course, she's not as stage ready as Diljit is. But she put in the effort, and even Diljit put in the effort. And there was this gentleman called Kittu from Ludhiana. Kittu Paji had come, and he was training her more, but him also a little bit about how the dialect should be for Chamkila and Amarjot.
It's fantastic. I'll end with asking of course, the very amazing chemistry between the two of them. I think the nuances of how they look at each other, the beginning of the romance, I think were beautifully done, right? She particularly, with the way she's awkwardly looking at him, and then they both not being able to do it. It was a romance of a different era, and I think you encapsulated that. Tell me how you wanted that to go, and how those scenes must have been to shoot, because I think it came out beautifully.
When we'd gone to shoot, we did not have a choreographer. I should mention that Shrishti Jain was the EP of the film, executive producer of the film, and who had to do all the hard work of, you know, running around and organizing everything. But she had a dance background, so I pulled her in to do the choreography. So actually all those, the other song also, like she is the one who choreographed Naram Kaalja. But also the other song, which is Tu Kya Jaane, in that she and I were setting the scene together and then telling Diljit and Parineeti to, perform.
That's cute.
And Diljit was very fascinated by what the hell is happening. Sir, kya kar rahe? And no, but the fact is that firstly, Parineeti is a very good actor, I feel. And secondly, Diljit completely got the world and the mentality and the time, the era, Every look of his, if you notice, it's so laden with so much unsaid, and there's so much inhibited affection in that. So they played it very, very well, which is why it seems like that. But also one thing that I must say is that when you have a song like the one that we had, and when A.R. Rahman is composing, those nuances and that chemistry is there in the sound. Now you got to just follow that and give it body, which is what we did on the set.
Yeah. I even love those, the Riyaz scenes.
Yeah.
The Riyaz scenes were so fascinating.
And there's something interesting over there. Initially, she's laughing at his lyrics. She's thinking of the lyrics. But later on, with the same lyrics, when she's singing, they're very serious about it.
Yeah.
Then she's not laughing or singing. Then it is only about the sur or only about the singing. That is what an artist is. Being artists, so what their songs were vulgar. They still put in their hearts to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I can go on, but I think this has been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I want to show off my Chamkila
Please,
t-shirt.
this is someone who's made particularly this t-shirt for Imtiaz.
For me. Thank
that
you.
is the kind of love that Chamkila is getting because of you. But it's wonderful. Thank you so much for introducing us to the world that a lot of people might not actually know of at all.
Thank you.
And I think there is this fever of Chamkila back, people revisiting his songs, which I think is beautiful.
That's wonderful. That's really good.
Thank you once again.
Thank you.